Hey guys, you are here with the Jane Eden, and thank you very much for being here. I really appreciate you coming and checking this out. You can also check me out at Jane Eden on Twitter. I would welcome your comments and seeing you on there as well. So check me out at Jane Eden on Twitter as well. You might notice that today I am kind of rocking out the Marina bald spot that I have there. And if you would like to hear a little bit more about my experience with Marina, you can check out that video. It's kind of long, so if you want to hear just about the hair loss part, go to about halfway through. You can disregard the last couple of minutes and I will not be offended, but have a look at that video as well. If you have any interest or curiosity about Marina IUDs, you can have a look at my experience on that video. So I'm going to talk to you today about junk that you don't want. And there is always junk that you don't want, that I don't want, that we don't want. There's just a lot of junk in general. So what do we do with it? One of the top things that I'm going to suggest that you do if you haven't already, and I know that, I mean, millions of people already use this tool, but Kijiji. Check it all the time. Use it all the time. This is an absolutely amazing tool. If you are an environmentalist, this is something that you should be doing all of the time. Here's a forum where you can swap and trade things. You can get rid of things that you don't want. You can make money off of those things. You can give them away for free to someone else who's going to use them. This is a way to keep stuff out of landfills. This is a way to recycle. We have this huge online recycling tool. Absolutely awesome, right? It's also a way that, again, you can make a little bit of money off of things in your home that you no longer need anymore. So absolutely awesome tool. If there are things that you know that you don't want, go on to Kijiji. You can set up an account really easily, post, make sure you post with pictures. If you don't, you're not going to get as many responses. So make sure you include a picture. If you're able to do that, that's always the best way to go about it. And if you want to look specifically at free stuff or post with free stuff, on the Kijiji main page, if you scroll down at the bottom right, there is a section with 4 bold items. One of those items is free stuff. So click on it, check it out, see what's there already. And if anything is of use to you, keep something from going to a landfill. I will say it's a little disheartening or upsetting, I'm sure, for some people, but a lot of the free stuff is animals. It's a little sad that we value animal life so little, you know, but so if you have a passion for animals, this might be a little upsetting for you to see all of the free animals on there. But I mean, other than that, it's an awesome tool, and I would urge you to check it out. So the other tool to Kijiji is Craigslist, and if you haven't checked that out, Craigslist.com, go and check it out. It's very similar to Kijiji. They've been around for a while. The format hasn't changed greatly over time. I'm a really visual person, and I appreciate Kijiji because they've made it very visual. The experience is very colorful and very visual, and Craigslist isn't so much. So I don't tend to go on it. It doesn't mean that it's any less useful. I just don't find that it particularly grabs me, the format of it. And I also find that people on Craigslist, for whatever reason, don't post pictures as often. And again, because I'm a visual person, I really want to see what, you know, what's being described. And often I think you can optimistically describe something, and then when you see it, it's a very different thing. So I think that, you know, looking at ads with pictures is definitely, and posting ads with pictures is the way to go there. Now, the other thing that you can do with junk that you don't want, obviously, is to donate it. And what you need to be careful with when you're donating is that the stuff that you're getting rid of is going to be accepted into, you know, whatever it is that, wherever it is that you're donating. So I know a lot of people with good hearts who want to donate to places. For instance, I work with women who have come from situations of abuse, and there are a lot of people that I know who want to donate clothing or toys or various things to those women and their children, and they're not accepted because they need to be new items, and there are various reasons for that. I'm not going to get too much into that, but even if you're, you know, throwing all of your stuff into a bag and taking it to Goodwill or putting it in one of those dumpsters that accepts donations, bins. Those aren't dumping grounds. It's not a garbage bin. Please don't treat it like that. You know, someone's on the other end of that, and someone will end up having to deal with that. If you're taking stained clothing to Goodwill, it's just going to end up in the landfill. So avoid that, please. Avoid, you know, making your problem or challenge someone else's problem. Goodwill is not for us to get rid of our garbage. If you want to donate to Goodwill, new, gently used is fantastic. But again, anything that's really stained and that's clearly garbage should not be donated. So what do you do with those things that are maybe kind of bordering on being garbage to keep it out of the landfill? There are a few things that you can do. I'm going to look at this is, again, non-exhaustive. If you are a creative individual, you can come up with tons of different ways that you can deal with tons of different things in your household. These are just a few things, all right? Simple things. Girls who use makeup, those little sponges that you purchase. I don't know why this drives me absolutely crazy. Products that are designed to be thrown away almost immediately after they're used. You know, you use these sponges, and even if you want to reuse them, they're gungy, and like you can't reuse them that much. So it's a product that is created to be thrown away. And, you know, it's very sanitary, absolutely, and you want to be, you know, when it comes to your face, obviously you don't want to be using, you know, some dirty, awful material or a sponge or what have you. So one of the things that I have done is taken a sheet. It's a fairly thick sheet. Now the design on it, I really hated. I didn't want to use it anyway, so it was one of those things that just sat in the linen closet, wasn't used, and yeah, I mean, it just looked shabby. It was not useful to us anymore. So I cut it into squares like this and used it for makeup. And because it's a fairly dense material, it's really cushy. It's actually really effective for that. Some sheets aren't going to be, some materials aren't going to be. A dense material is going to be awesome for that. So if you have anything like that, cut it up into squares, have it sitting in a pile in your bathroom or wherever you keep your cosmetics, and use it for your makeup. This is one that I have obviously used. You can tell. This is clean. You can throw it in the washing machine. It does not get makeup all over your other clothes. It won't ruin anything else. It will end up being stained. So what? It's clean, you know? So you can easily reuse these over and over and over and over. This is something that extends the life cycle of a product way past when it is potentially useful to you and your family. So you can see there are little stringies, you can pull those off, cut them off, whatever. But again, another way to make one thing in your household useful for something else for a long time to come. Another thing that you can use in the same vein is towels, threadbare towels. What do you do with threadbare towels? Like, you know, you want to give those to somebody else so that they can have threadbare towels? No. So what do you do with threadbare towels? Don't throw them out. You don't need to throw them out. Let's avoid putting more junk in our landfills. There's enough going into them already, so let's keep the threadbare towels out of them. Cut it into squares, rectangles, triangles, circles, whatever you want, and reuse them. You can reuse this for so many different things. I'm a breastfeeding mom. These are my breast pads. I know that you can buy fancy, really effective, awesome breast pads. They have an expense, they have packaging, and they get disposed. So instead of doing that, I've opted out. I want to do something different entirely. I want to use something that I can reuse over and over and over again that's really effective and is not going into a landfill. So I'm keeping something out of the landfill that otherwise may have gone there, and something that was no longer useful to my family. So one of the other things that you can do with threadbare towels is to cut it into, again, whatever section, whatever size you want, and put it in a container like this. This is obviously a diaper wipe container. You can use any kind of container you like. Any size of container will do, depending on what you want to use it for. If you want to throw it in a purse, if you want to throw it in a diaper bag, if you want to just have it on hand in your vehicle in the glove box, do that too. Then you always have wipes instead of searching for napkins. I know people do that. They throw, you know, restaurant napkins or stuff like that into their glove box. this is a fantastic way to use something that isn't disposable instead of that. And again, really easy to wash. You can also use along with that, so cut up your squares, put them into a container. You can add a little bit of water so that they're moist. You can also add a little bit of hand sanitizer. If you're someone who likes to use sanitizer, I'm not huge on sanitizer because I do feel like we should adjust to a certain amount of bacteria. It's natural and our systems need to know how to deal with it. So the more we sanitize our environment, the less our bodies can cope with bacteria. That's my personal thing, and I'm not going to force that down anybody's throat. And I realize people do like sanitizer. So if you do like sanitizer, you can get away from the traditional brands, things that can be really, really harsh, and move towards something like this. This is a natural hand sanitizer. It contains honey and lavender, and it smells absolutely divine. It's fantastic, and it's really gentle too. A lot of the mainstream sanitizers, I've used them, and my skin is already kind of dry. It just sucks. It pulls the moisture out of my skin, and especially in the winter, oh, like I don't want my hands to be all cracked and dry, or to have to apply moisturizer every 5 seconds to my hands. So throw a little bit of that in with your wipes, in with the water, and have the little sections absorb that, and then you've got ready wipes anytime. Again, you can put them in any size or shape container depending on what it is that you want to use it for. So another great thing that you can do with threadbare towels or other materials, and other materials can include things like this. So you can see that this shirt is a little bit stained, and you know, like there's just no way that I'm wearing this anymore, right? It's stained all over the front, it's splotchy, and this is no longer useful to me. But am I gonna give this to somebody else to wear a stained shirt? No, I'm not gonna do that. That's not very considerate of the other person on the other end of that. And sure, I am sure that there are people who are happy to wear stained clothing, but I'm just of the personal opinion that this is a problem for me. I'm not going to make it someone else's problem, but I am going to deal with it. So this is another one of those things that I am going to take from around my house. I'll cut it up into little squares and use it for various things. We've all done this. You know, you take some material and make it a rag. Well, rags can be useful for a lot of different things. So as I showed you here, it can be useful for makeup. It can be useful for breastfeeding moms as a breast pad, and it can also be useful to use for wipes. These are things that you can then toss in your laundry and use over and over and over again. And if you have anything that you'd like to add to this, I realize this is, again, this is non-exhaustive. There are so many things that we can reuse in so many different ways, and there are obviously a lot of products that we bring into our home. We need to think about where they go when we're done with them. So these are just a couple of things that you can keep in mind about the products that you bring into your home. If you have any ideas, please post in the comments below. I would love to hear your creative ideas, and don't forget to hit subscribe on your way out. We'll talk to you again soon.